HeriForge.
Welcome to the HeriForge podcast. I'm Biril and I'm your host today. I'm so glad that you're tuning with us, whether you're passionate about cultural heritage and emerging technologies, or just curious about how those two worlds collide, you're in the right place. This is actually our very first episode, so let me give you a quick idea of what to expect. In this podcast, we will be exploring how HeriForge, a European project funded by Horizon Europe program, is working at the intersection of culture and innovation. We will meet experts, creatives, and community voices who are rethinking how we preserve and interact with cultural heritage through powerful new tools like extended reality, immersive experiences, and digital platforms. So, who better to off this journey than the person who's coordinating it all? Today, I'm joined by Michał Kosiedowski, I hope I'm not butchering your name, principal investigator of the HeriForge project. Michał works at the Poznan Supercomputing and Networking Center. In his research, he studies applications of advanced ICT for supporting people with special needs. For the last 10 years, Michał has been principal investigator of several international projects in those areas, including projects such as Silhouette, Fit for Work, Palosha, or Inscension. He's been deeply involved in building bridges between technology and social goods, which makes him the perfect person to help us unpack what HeriForge is all about and where it's going. So, Michał, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Hello, Meryl, and hello to everybody who listens to us.
So, Michał, would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Well, actually, your introduction was pretty good one. And one thing that I would add here, which might be important for our chat today, is that I'm Polish, so my heritage is in Poland, and we'll be talking a lot about heritage. So that's something to remember when I speak today. And I'm just an IT engineer happening to work in a research institution. And here I am to talk to you about this project, which I have the pleasure to coordinate.
Amazing. Thank you. Maybe I can start with my own heritage as well. I am Mesopotamian, I say, from Turkey. So, yeah. So thank you, Michał. So let's start with something simple but foundational then. What is HeriForge exactly?
So, there's not one simple answer to this theoretically simply sounding question, to be honest. But let's start with the easiest response, perhaps. And that would be that HeriForge is an international project that is financed and implemented through the Horizon Europe program of the European Commission. And this is a project that involves experts in applying advanced information and communication technologies to preserve and provide access to digitalized cultural heritage from 3 European countries: Poland, Turkey, as you already, as our listeners already probably have noticed, and the third one is Cyprus. And these experts I'm talking about for quite a time have been collaborating locally in these 3 countries within ecosystems on the intersection of cultural heritage and extended reality and immersive technologies. And now, Heritage is aiming to bring these 3 local ecosystems together and interconnect them in such a way that we can create an excellence hub that would then link stakeholders from different sectors, private, public, social, that are active in developing and applying extended reality technologies, preserving cultural heritage, and working towards social resilience.
Amazing. From what I understand in my limited time within the project, HeriForge isn't just about creating cool extended reality experiences. It's about like something more deeper, how technology can help us reconnect with cultural heritage, create shared identities, and even strengthen the community resilience. And so within this context, how exactly does HeriForge contribute to that intersection between cultural heritage and extended reality technologies?
In the project, we are taking on several activities to achieve that. First of all, what we do, we are analyzing the needs of local stakeholders involved in these areas that we already mentioned. But also we are looking at the strengths of the local ecosystems that we mentioned before. And based on that, we are trying to build a joint research and innovation strategy that would promote and stimulate cultural heritage-driven transformation. Secondly, each of these ecosystems is going to demonstrate its strength and show how you can use strengths, expertise, or resources from the other ecosystems in pilot projects. These pilot projects will aim to use extended reality technologies and will, in the cultural heritage context, we're also using cultural heritage resources, having also in mind to support strengthening of the resilience capabilities of our communities, or the local communities, or generally a wider community, like national or maybe even international. Finally, we also want to create business opportunities for SMEs and startups to draw from this expertise, to draw from these resources of the Joint Excellence Hub. And of course, we need to involve those who can actually be those who can explore the potential of applying XR in cultural heritage on an everyday basis. But the longer term goal in the end is to create long-term links between these three involved local ecosystems, also with integration with pan-European networks and initiatives in these fields.
Amazing. And you mentioned how important to like bring those three countries together and then extend the knowledge through them. So I'm sure that like not just me, but the many listeners would ask right now, like, why were the Poland, Turkey, and Cyprus chosen as the main locations for this project? And also like what kind of institutions and people are involved on the ground within the country hubs?
So first of all, we should look at what Poland, Turkey, and Cyprus are. All these three countries, we have really rich cultural heritage and tradition of preserving. There is lots of numerous programs, initiatives to digitalize this cultural heritage. Then secondly, we also have research and development entities that are involved in state-of-the-art studies on applying extended reality or immersive technologies in various fields. And that also includes cultural heritage, and that also includes various areas that could be found under the umbrella topic of social resilience. And so while working in these fields, we noticed that there's also growing need to bring various stakeholders together. There's growing need to create a sort of quadruple helix of research, academic entities, enterprises, especially innovative SMEs, non-governmental organizations involved in activities aimed at preserving cultural heritage or aimed at strengthening social resilience, and public institutions, including those at the governmental level or created directly and working directly for the government, directly implementing governmental strategies concerning cultural heritage. So looking at that, we thought that we need to make these people collaborate more closely. Making these kind of institutions and organizations collaborate more closely, and then also knowing on our previous experiences what impact you can achieve through linking these people internationally, we thought it's time to find some sort of opportunity to finance these ideas within a joint project. And since the European Commission actually had a special track in the Horizon Europe program to widen the participation of some of the countries in the EU-based programs, for those countries that are perhaps less participating in these programs. So they want to involve them more. And actually, these three countries are all on the list. So we thought that's the good place to apply for funding. And that's here we are. European Commission agreed with us, and we are implementing this initiative.
Yeah, I can see that very well, how it reflects the growing needs in the field. And also it's fascinating to see this combination of local ecosystems with cutting edge tools, and especially when so much of Europeans' cultural and creative industries are made up of small and passionate teams working at the community level, as you just mentioned as well. And with the extended reality technology growing so fast, and by the way, we are talking about a potential of 65 billion market in Europe by 2025, and we are already in that when I wrote this data. The timing feels perfect. So let's talk about like what it means in practice, because you mentioned a lot of like funding opportunities, developing the potential within the hub. So what kind of impact do you hope to achieve with the HeriForge, both in terms of cultural preservation and in fostering technological innovation across Turkey, Poland, and Cyprus? And as extended reality and immersive tools continue to develop, what kind of new opportunities do you see emerging from this convergence of culture and technology? And it will be fun to hear your answer, because you're also an IT professional. And so let's see.
So what we want to do in the project is we want to impact boosting the development of innovative ways of preservation and innovative ways of presentation of cultural heritage to wider public, and also in various new scenarios. That then should, in result, increase also the need for more of cultural heritage resources to be digitized, because obviously not everything is in digital form and available. And so then we both would we would then do both. We would use what is already digitized in new various ways, right? But also in new other scenarios, including those international ones. And the second thing is that we would also impact creating of new repositories for those elements of cultural heritage, less known, maybe more local, not digitized right now, but then suddenly with a new need for digitizing this, for preserving this, for using this in a new scenario, that would help to create these new repositories. And there's also, as I said, a lot of cultural heritage that is today unknown to wider audience, right? There might be something interesting in Cyprus or Turkey that I may not be aware of, and something that traditionally you would learn about when you actually travel there to these places, right? Otherwise, you don't really have a chance to see that. Now, innovative ways of using preserved this local cultural heritage and presenting this in these new ways would be probably able to create a big potential in fostering understanding between the varying cultures of Europe. Like you can really share the cultural heritage between each other. And not without importance here is also the fact that younger generations seem to right now have integrated digital technologies as an inseparable part of their lives, right? So there must be
They're very
technology
native.
involved. So hence, usage of novel technologies for providing access to heritage in an interesting and innovative ways might create a chance for making sure that these younger generations, learn about where they come from and learn about where the other people around them come from, and make them understand each other much better.
I completely agree. Once we get to know each other more and understand each other's culture, it's also like creates kind of understanding and hence the peace, hence the harmony between people. So this is not just cultural heritage, it's about like more like a dialogue between people. And I really like the approach of getting more and more local instead of like going through the mainstream, which democratizes how we see the narratives, how we see the heritage itself. So I wanted to like empathize on the community engagement part of the HeriForge project. So we are not just like creating the tech for tech's sake. Like in this HeriForge project, we are directly working with the local people and the organization, which makes me extremely excited. So how does HeriForge collaborate with local communities and stakeholders in each of the 3 countries? And on the flip side, how important is international collaboration to the project's overall success?
So right now, what we are doing is we are at the beginning of the project, and what we are doing right now, we are interviewing and are collecting other information from direct contact with all types of stakeholders that we mentioned on the local level. So we reach out to the local stakeholders in Poland, Turkey, and Cyprus, because we want to understand their needs, we want to understand their requirements, and we want to also learn about their opinions on how cultural heritage, including these most local ones, should or could be used, and how extended reality technologies could be used in combination with it in various ways, right? Either to preserve, to present, to use, to whatever the scenarios might be. And based on that, what we will do next is we will elaborate strategies for each of the local ecosystems in Turkey, Poland, and Cyprus, a strategy that will include local specificities of how to collaborate with the local stakeholders and how we can support their goals. We will also be organizing a lot of local workshops, individual meetings, presenting what we are doing or how we approach what can be done using technologies, how can cultural heritage be used, learning more from them, getting feedback, maybe other events, we will see. But what also will be important for us is transferring excellence and expertise, as well as knowledge on cultural heritage across borders. So the key will be that we enable, for example, an SME from Poland to draw on for storytelling expertise from Turkey and to look for digitized cultural heritage from Cyprus in order to bring about a new sort of experience, a new app, a new game, you name it.
Sounds very exciting. So I actually wanted to ask you, like, what is the next for the Heri projects? Like, are there any upcoming projects, milestones, or events that listeners should be excited about? You already gave us some hints, and so, but is there any specific that you would like to mention?
Yeah, so I think that that's something that everybody could be excited about this year or in the nearest future of our project is the fact that we will be launching our first open call for SMEs and NGOs in the second half of this year. And we aim to select around 6 projects. There is around 300,000 euros allocated. The maximum grant will be 50,000 per project. And right now we are detailing the objectives and rules for this call. However, one thing that one can be sure is that we will be very much looking for projects in which technology experts collaborate with cultural heritage institutions or organizations, right? For example, a project in which an innovative SMEs looks at the needs of a local museums and applies technology to use the heritage resources that these museums take care of on an everyday basis, right? So this open call is something that we also look very much forward and are really very curious of what kind of interesting idea the local communities will have for us.
Very well said. And also everyone, whoever like interested in this funding can follow HeriForge on Instagram, LinkedIn, and also through their website, which is heriforge.eu, right?
Yes, exactly.
It will be all published, so it will be all open call as well. Since I don't have any further questions, so maybe we can actually come to the day, which is the Heritage Day, a time when we like reflect on the stories, traditions, and places shape who we are, like when we talk about heritage, right? So I want to ask this very personal question to you, Michał. So what does Heritage Day mean to you personally? And also, how does HeriForge align with the values that this day celebrates?
I think that each of us comes with our own view on what our personal heritage is. My own one is something that you can, from the point of view of the international audience, might seem something pretty local and pretty unknown, certainly pretty unknown in Cyprus and Turkey. Whenever I talk to my foreign colleagues, they never know this. So I believe this is also something that stands for a good HeriForge scenario, to be honest. So I come from a specific Polish region called Kashubia. While Kashubians consider themselves part of the Polish nation, they also have their own language. This is a separate language with its own grammar, own alphabet, and it also became even an official language in some of local communities, some towns and villages, where you can use it to communicate with authorities if you wish to. So it's a specific, separate, officially recognized language. Now, preservation of the Kashubian language is actually a very interesting example of how to prevent cultural heritage, because until late 19th century, this was only a spoken language. So there was nothing written until then. But now this is taught at schools. There's more and more literature coming written in Kashubian and so on. So doesn't it sound like a perfect local scenario for HeriForge? Wouldn't you want to visit an old Kashubian village right now?
I actually, while you was like talking, I googled it immediately. It seems very interesting, and also like it shows us like how diverse a country could be. You know, I had no idea, and now I know, and I want to check more, and I want to know more about it.
Yeah, and this is what HeriForge is about: to facilitate digitizing such a village, bringing it into a virtual world which you can visit even from where you are right now, to experience what Kashubia might be about. And that's only one scenario of how to use the digitally preserved monument or digitally preserved village with the support of extended reality. But it's always, if you look at HeriForge or if you look at combination of XR and cultural heritage, it's always going to be about preserving and creating new experiences with this heritage.
Thank you so much. You gave us a lot to think about it and reflect as well as like the very valuable project information. Michał, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a fascinating conversation, and I think our listeners now have a much more clearer picture of what HeriForge is doing and why it matters. You're not just preserving the past, and you're also like shaping the future and how we engage with it within the project. To everyone listening, thank you for being with us on this very first episode of the HeriForge podcast. We will be back soon with more voices from across the project, like artists, technologists, researchers, and community leaders who are all part of this exciting journey. Until the next time, take care and keep exploring the stories that connect us. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Go beyond now with HeriForge.